Homemade, handmade, fresh pasta is a kitchen project that can be a lot of work. It can end up being such a magnificent disaster that you're probably thinking, yeah, I'm good, I'll pass. And I'm like, yeah, that's cool, I've been there too. But you can keep the workload under control. The key is to make less pasta and serve it as a starting dish. With a few smart decisions, you'll end up doing far less work while producing more complex, more impressive, better looking, and better tasting food. Whoa, multiple dishes? Yes, but before you wrangle me, just hear me out. There is a plan. The demon here is the pasta dough and too much of it. The problem is that most recipes will land you with an absolute boulder of dough. 500 grams, 600 grams, a whole kilo ball. Try rolling out even 500 grams of dough and then shaping it into something like garganelli, or worse yet, pick a filled pasta like tortellini. It'll humble you real quickly. So reel it in a bit. Make your dough with 1 large egg and 100 grams of flour. This tiny little dough ball is the key to a successful dinner for 4. It might not look like a lot, that's because it isn't a lot, but that's precisely the point. You don't really need a mountain of pasta dough to pull off a great meal. By all means, go for it, but unless you're a professional or someone who really knows what they're doing, neither of which I am, you might end up drowning at the pasta bench in a kitchen swamp of flour, dough, and equipment. So take your small ball, turn it into pasta, serve it as a first course, pair it with a hands-off main course, and that's really it. You're welcome to click off the video now because I don't have anything else too important to say. Unless you care about how to pair your pasta starter with a main course so that you can actually pull off the meal. Because you're now dubiously looking at your small ball of dough wondering how it's going to feed 4 real human beings. So here's the framework to make this work. With the dough resting, the next step is the main course. There are a lot of options, but the key is to stick within one major technical culinary category: braising. Low and slow, hands-off cooking. All the work is front-loaded, which frees you up to roll and shape the pasta while the braises. This is where you can get into the weeds about pairing dishes, menu balance, all that junk. Like braised chicken with a red sauce tortellini or braised pork shoulder with a brown butter butternut squash cappelletti. Both delicious, but let's look at a braised pasta combination that is going to make this as easy as possible. Bollito misto with pasta and brodo. Boiled meat with noodles and meat broth. Bollito misto is not a traditional braise where you sear a piece of meat and then simmer it in a small amount of flavorful liquid, but it applies the same idea of a slow, moist, low-temp cooking environment that produces tender, fall-apart meat. And it's got a lot of things working in its favor. Once you get everything simmering, it's hands off. This happens really quickly because there is no searing involved. Although if you want to sear, sear. It's pretty much 2 dishes at once because the meat broth ends up being a pseudo sauce in which the pasta is cooked and served. It's really good, it's dead simple, it's already simmering, and a small dough ball is calling. Meat broth is often served with a meaty stuffed tortellini, but the meat budget has been blown on this pink lady. So in the name of low work to impressive results, I suggest opting for soppressini. Soppressini are not stuffed. Although they do bend my eye a little and sort of look like it, they are far less work, but the shape it produces looks so impressively difficult, but I'll tell you it's not. All you're doing is cutting up squares and lining up corners. It's like a primary school project. Bang them all out and set them on a lightly floured cutting board to dry and firm up a little. When the time to serve hits, just simmer them in the meat broth to finish and you are laughing. You don't need to save pasta water, emulsify sauce, toss vigorously. You don't need to worry about your sauce splitting, which is so damn annoying, or the time it'll take to bring a separate pot of water to a boil. No issues with overcrowding a pan and not being able to toss your pasta. Just strain your already simmering broth into a separate pot and dunk your soppressini for like 2 minutes. Make sure your broth is seasoned at this point. But just before you do that, plate the vegetables, meats, and sauces that you had time to prepare while the meat was cooking even before rolling out the dough. So yeah, there you go. Portion out your pasta and your soup and you've done it. Trust me on this one. Or don't trust me, because maybe you're looking at this operation and still thinking, yeah, not gonna happen. Maybe you're busy or lazy or one of those people who watch cooking videos but don't really cook yourself. No shame around here, I cook myself too. Here's a few alternatives for you, like this expedited 1-pot version. Chunk your meat into bite-sized pieces, going with pork shoulder this time, which is no concession. It might even be better than beef, it just happens to be cheaper. Look away. I really wanted to sear, but just skip searing the meat and get it simmering. Roll and shape your pasta dough. By this time, the meat should be pretty close to done, so cut any vegetables into smaller pieces, potatoes first if you're using them, then carrots, celery, onions. Make a quick gremolata of parsley, citrus zest, and grated garlic. The final dish kind of needs it, but by now the vegetables should be fully cooked, so drop in your pasta. Hopefully you skip the filled pasta for the previously mentioned soppressini. Unlike me, I'm dense. Grab some bowls, some spoons, and a ladle to serve 1-pot style with grated pecorino and gremolata to float on top. Yeah, I did go with the green stuffed tortellini to pay some respects to the fallen salsa verde. Skip the searing and skip the tortellini. Man, even skip the fresh pasta. No one will care if you're like, nah, I still can't be bothered with making dough. For each person, measure 2 tablespoons of a dainty pasta like pastine or ditalini and cook it in the rich meat broth. Just absolutely nuke it with cheese and you'll end up with something great, arguably even better than the fresh stuff. The whole point is to shift the pasta out of its predominant sustenance role and into a smaller supporting role. You decrease the workload that always comes with handmade pasta and replace it with braising a main dish. A kitchen task that's far less work but offers a higher payout by adding complexity to your meal. Serving a fresh pasta and a full meal also looks impressive if that's the angle you're trying to lean into. This cooking philosophy is far from revolutionary, as Italians have been serving pasta as a first course forever, called a primo, but there's a reason. It makes sense for the appetite of the eater and the workflow of the cook. If you are both the eater and the cook, then let this video be your ticket to a positive homemade pasta experience.